There are no One Nation or Liberal supporters in there. There are none.
Of course.
There's comedians, and Charlie Pickering still has it. Avi Yemini for Rebel News in Melbourne, Australia, outside the ABC, where about 60 people have gathered here on a Tuesday afternoon, taking off work to rally against ABC bias, calling for the taxpayer-funded networks to be defunded. If you want to join these guys, sign the petition at defundabc.com. But for now, we'll find out what it's all about. Why are so many people here on a Tuesday afternoon?
Well, I think what this demonstrates, Avi, is that many Victorians and in fact many Australians are sick of the bias of ABC. They get over $1 billion of public money a year. So we've got the Persian Iranian community, the Jewish community and ordinary Australians here today to say we've had enough of bias reporting. We're sick of the anti-Semitism. We're sick of the facts getting in the way of their narratives, and we want the ABC to tell the truth.
Defund the ABC!
I'm getting the sense you really love the ABC.
I'm not a big fan of the ABC. I do a little thing where every now and then I dip in and out. I give myself about 5 minutes to see what they're reporting on. And it's nearly always one of about 3 or 4 pet topics that I think gives a really distorted view of just how Australian society is, quite apart from all of the Jew hatred and all of the loving of the Iranian government and hatred of Israel and so forth.
When I arrived here, I called 3AW and they put me on air and I announced that this was happening here. I then proceeded to call ABC, and you can only just guess what they did. The ABC, the lady on the phone said, "Oh, we're not discussing that here now." I said, "It's happening right outside your doors." She said, "No, we're not broaching that." I said, "That's because you're biased."
Tells you everything you need to know.
It's exactly what it's about. They just deny the facts.
I'm not Jewish, I'm not Iranian, but I'm here to support these people because of what these people here are doing. Totally biased. It's got to stop.
Love the Jewish people. We love Israel, and we support you 100%.
But you said you're from Queensland, you're a pastor. Why are you here?
Well, I came down. My husband's here for a conference, but my friend said, "Do you want to go to a protest?" I said, "Yes, I do." So.
Aren't you the naughty friend that always drags you?
Really naughty friend.
Why is it important for you to be here?
Because Israel has the right to exist, and I love Israel.
But this is about ABC bias. What's the correlation?
Absolutely. Well, they're just completely biased, and nobody hears the truth. That's just the bottom line.
I've come here simply for one reason. As I said when I spoke, I've spent so much of my time trying to build a better Melbourne, a better city where people get together and get along with each other and really spread a message of social cohesion. I know it sounds sort of flattery today, but I really believe in it. But when your own national broadcaster constantly puts these headlines out and stories which, I mean, from even the most basic objective look at it, it's selling a narrative to the young, impressionable minds that Israel is this demon and that Israel can do no good and Israel is evil. And I have no issue associating Israel with me as a Jew. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I have nothing to do with Israel." I do have what to do with Israel. I'm Jew and Israel is the Jewish state. But when you report things about Israel that are a lie and that are not true, that's when I stand up and say no more. Because what you're causing is young minds to walk around thinking that I'm a bad person. And of course, we see where that leads. And so they need to take accountability.
You Jewish?
No. So, yeah, I'm here because, I just can't believe that, I mean, just as part of this that I think the ABC propagates is this sort of hatred of civilization, and where my children are I never imagined that my children would be of a generation that would be promoting terrorism and chanting for them.
They've announced they've hired Grace Tame. What's your reaction? Is that not the truth you're looking for?
No, not quite, Avi, no.
We remember an ABC interview where the ABC's new hire, Grace Tame, referred to allegations about rape and sexual violence against Israeli women on October 7 as propaganda that had been debunked.
I can't believe it. She's a supporter of rape and sexual assault in the name of political causes. I mean, that's the one thing that she's got to her name.
By appointing Grace Tame is just another knife in Australia's back. That's all it is. It's an absolute disgrace. They can bury their heads in the sand as they always have, in great shame.
I remember when I was rocking my baby's arms when we were watching the aftermath of the Twin Towers falling. And they did that in the name of Gaza and the Palestinians. And yet I never thought that their generation would be the ones that would be promoting that and flying the flags of terrorism and things like that.
So they've finally hired her, but have changed the narrative to focus on autism and things like that, which autism is one thing, but it's hiding the fact that she's globalising the intifada, calls for violent uprising, blowing up of buses, schools, nightclubs.
We all know that the charter is to be unbiased. They've broken the charter. I would love to see the ABC, SBS, etc. privatised.
Don't you think Grace Tame was a good investment today?
Probably not, but...
An investment for truth, no?
Yeah, you're right.
But it's not her fault, she's autistic.
Apparently so, but still, I know autistic people and they know the difference between right and wrong and moral clarity.
I mean, Grace Tame, right, really. The ABC's hired Grace Tame. That says everything about their ethics and their editorial. We deserve better. It's public money. They're not a private business. It's our taxpayer money. We deserve better than that.
I mean, if somebody had said a statement about any other, derogatory statement or a, inciting violence statement about any other group in our country, and then our national broadcaster would hire them, it's mind-boggling. I don't understand it. As if there's a shortage of people who could go on and speak about whatever issue she's talking about. I'm not sure why they've hired her. I just heard about it now. It doesn't make any sense, because what it's saying is that those attitudes and those beliefs are acceptable. That's to me what it's expressing. And again, that same narrative. Well, if the ABC allows someone who can share those views, then those views must be acceptable.
I think this is very appropriate for here. That woman is a disgrace. She's unhinged, and she is she's going to fit in well. The standards that she fits in well with the ABC, total bias. Seriously, I could not believe it when I heard it. That's how bad this organisation is. Sack the chairman, sack the board. If you hire Grace Tame, that just proves one thing: they are totally biased.
It's not just these big issues, there's little issues, I mean, women are not second-class citizens in Australia. We don't need to hear about that every 10 minutes, We don't need to hear about what happened 200 years ago. We need to be united. We don't need to hear all of this, fighting based on our race, our gender, our religion, and all of this sort of stuff. We're one nation,
So first of all, I'm not Jewish and I'm not Persian. I am an Aussie, and that's why I'm doing this job. We want the ABC to be for every Australian and to tell every story in an unbiased manner.
I mean it with absolute sincerity. If the ABC just did a little bit of honest journalism, I would have no issue. If they really shared both sides of the story accurately and with fact, great. You want to share about Israel every day, if that's what your readers are interested or your watchers are interested, that's your prerogative. But then do it honestly.
So what do you want to see happen? Do you want it defunded, or do you want to see fair reporting?
So first of all, we want fair reporting. We want the ABC to do the job that it's meant to do, which is tell the truth and let both sides be heard and let the audience make up their mind. Instead of being political activists, journalists are not activists in the ABC, but unfortunately that's what we see. If they don't fix that, then perhaps we have to have the defund conversation.
We want respectable journalism. It's disgusting their reporting what's happened over the years.
It is brainwashing, it is anti-Semitic, it's appeasing the jihadists. Apart from that, it's pretty good.
The chair of the ABC, Kim Williams, says that if you walk through the ABC building, you probably couldn't guess who they vote for. I tried to take him up on that challenge. We are related through marriage. I did give that a crack, but hasn't taken me up on my offer yet. Since offering that deal, I have found a poll that shows about 43% of ABC employees are Greens voters. Do you think that's representative of the wider community?
Avi, we know it's not representative of the wider community. Greens are struggling to get 10%, maybe 15% in a strong electorate. There's no way 43%. That just shows their bias. The ABC is as left as they come. We don't mind having that in the conversation, but if that's your base and where you come from, that's your default position. The ABC is far too left.
Do you think that that's part of the problem?
I think it is a big part of the problem, because there's a generation that have grown up with this critical race theory background, that everything is defined by the oppressor versus the oppressed. When I talk to you, I don't in my head define you as male or female. You're a human being and I'll talk to you the same regardless. But there, it's all about their narrative, and I'm sure that if you don't agree with that narrative, you wouldn't be employed there. I don't think you'd find many Liberal voters in there, or definitely not One Nation voters. Whereas for a public broadcaster, it should be a whole diverse range of political spectrums.
I'm glad you went man and woman, not oppressed oppressor, because everyone knows I'm the oppressed.
You are, exactly.
Well, I think it's a little bit like a boiled frog syndrome, isn't it? I mean, one of the great things that I've done is I stopped watching the ABC a few years back, and then you come back in and you just notice the change. When it's incremental, bit by bit, you don't see it. And sometimes it's really hard to really see what's happening when it's incremental. I mean,
From within the boiling water.
within the boiling water, exactly. And it's not just in the ABC, it's just in our culture generally, you know what I mean?
The ABC loves talking about quotas, so let's talk about quotas of where people sit politically. Let's talk about them actually having to represent all views. You would struggle to find a strong One Nation or a strong Liberal voter in the ABC. Why?
We're going to have to cut it there because that's going to be suicide if they hire One Nation.
I watched this interview the other day with someone who came back from the flotilla. There was not one bit of evidence that this person shared with the journalist about their treatment. They just took it as fact. And I'm thinking to myself, look how they treat the Israeli ambassador when he comes on. It's like an interrogation, which it should be. But then do it equally. If somebody's going to say they were raped or abused or they got injured, show some type of fact. And what happens is somebody watches this and they hear a reputable journalist on the ABC asking this young woman what happened, and she says, Israel beat me and tortured me and raped me. What does a person leave thinking? They say, oh wow, Israel's the Jewish state. This is how Jews behave. This is how the rabbi down the road agrees with. No, I don't agree with rape and torture, God forbid. But so don't make these accusations against my people without even asking for one drop of evidence. And that's why I'm here today, because it's enough.
Do you think Prime Minister Pauline Hanson will put up with this?
Not for a second, and I think that's why her popularity is soaring.
You can feel the world is changing against what's happening out there. And it's time it's going to change. It's going to be people power, and these people are going to end up on the rubbish dump.
I don't think we need a public broadcaster. I think, you've got new media. I think you've got government licences for bandwidth, and maybe as a part of that, you have an obligation to put forward emergency information.
I'm an Aussie. I stand for decency and democracy. I'm sick of these people. They are a bloody disgrace.
If you enjoyed this report, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide, because I guarantee you the ABC will not be airing it tonight on the news. So it's up to you guys to get it out there far and wide. Every Aussie deserves to know how deluded even their own presenters like Charlie Pickering is. And then head to defundabc.com or scan the QR code on your screen right now and add your name to the thousands of Australians who want to put an end to this taxpayer-funded rot. Defundabc.com or scan the QR code now.